Are you becoming tired of your gaming collection? In September 2021, a slew of new games will be published. What exactly are they? That is what we will be discussing in this video. This is Clash of Games, and we're going to talk about the best Android games for mobile right now. If you're interested in this topic, make sure to subscribe and turn on the alerts to be notified when new content is posted. Let's get this list off to a good start by discussing Ticket to Earth. For Google Play Pass subscribers, but for those who aren't, it's $5 for 20+ hours of gameplay set in a colorful, comic book-styled universe. So when you learned that Ticket to Earth was a puzzle RPG, your heart undoubtedly sunk a little. That's not surprising, given that it's a genre that doesn't exactly inspire trust. The game is set in the far future on a strange planet. There's a plot involving prison breaches, corruption, mutated insects, and rampaging robots, and it's up to you to put things right. You take on the role of various characters, and each level presents you with a unique set of tasks to overcome. Unfortunately, there's so much going on in Ticket to Earth that it's difficult to include everything in a short review. However, part of me wants to make sure you get the most out of the game by letting you play it as soon as possible. So let me know in the comments section down below if you want a separate video about this game. Let's move on to an engineering game that's a lot of fun to play, but is reported to require a lot of teacher supervision. Yep, I'm talking about the Bridge Constructor Portal. Its legendary forefathers greatly influenced this game. GLaDOS, an unsympathetic but amusing AI, greets you at the start of several levels, setting the tone for the numerous tasks ahead of you. It sounds like the beginning of yet another delectable brain puzzle that'll tickle your funny bone while also challenging your logic skills. This game is a fun way to learn about some basic engineering concepts. On the other hand, there is little effort to teach engineering principles or explain why certain bridge designs are superior. Overall, it's a solid game that isn't built for instruction, but it could be a terrific hook for an engineering unit in the proper hands. Now let's speak about Dead Trigger 2, which is described as a non-stop FPS action zombie shooter. With over 110 million downloads, it's one of the most popular zombie shooters in the Play Store. So there's no better time than now to play it if you haven't already. Hunt down the undead in 10 different areas with 33 different battles, using over 70 different weapons ranging from rifles, shotguns, and rocket launchers to machetes, chainsaws, and wrenches. If you want, you could even throw a fatal chicken at them. Dead Trigger 2 has cutting-edge visuals, engaging missions, weekly tournaments, and the opportunity to establish a personal hideout and plot your strategy, ensuring hours of gaming. Depending on your preferences, you can play with touch controls or the virtual joystick. Let's move on to The Escapists: Prison Escape, a strategic sandbox game that'll keep you entertained for hours. You've committed the crime. Now it's time to serve your sentence. In that vein, the moment has come to make preparations for your escape. Take valuable items from guards, make equipment to help you escape, and get to know your other inmates to form your gang. Stay 2 steps ahead of the guards at all times, keep your head down, hide your contraband, and remember to show up for roll call. This is an addicting, suspenseful game that is simple to start but offers a significant challenge once you get going. There are over 6 different themed prisons to escape from, and dozens of different crafting combinations to try out. If you like The Escapists, The Escapists 2 is available for $7. Let's talk about Critical Ops Multiplayer FPS now. This 3D multiplayer FPS was created specifically for mobile devices, and it's currently one of the best FPS games available on Android. You can play single or as part of a dream team with your buddies, with beautifully constructed maps, magnificent locations, and demanding game modes. Choose between the Breach and the Coalition, and play in a fair-to-play environment with no in-app payments. In addition, Critical Ops is constantly updated with new features and game modes, ensuring that you never get bored, and it's completely free to play. Are you old enough to recall the first Tamagotchi? Even if you aren't, chances are you or your pals has owned a virtual pet at some point. So, this bird alone is the perfect time to reminisce. To begin with, it is exactly how you feel when you play Bird Alone for the first time. Play with the world's saddest bird, feed it, and talk to it. Then, when it's had enough interaction, it'll let you know. You might be thinking, okay, but is this truly a game? That is when the narrative truly begins. We won't give anything away because the game is short, and the less you know going on, the better. But we will say this: Bird Alone is incredibly emotional and unusual, and it'll stay with you long after you've finished it. Moving on, Peruvia is a great place to go when you can't determine what kind of game you want to play. There are over 30 different games to try out in this collection of unusual little arcade games, and they change every 10 seconds, so there's no fear of boredom. In addition, this game is worth the $4 cost of entry because it can be played offline and has no commercials or in-app purchases. The mini-games range from sports and driving games to 2D platformers and retro space shooters, and they're appropriate for players of all skill levels thanks to adjustable difficulty. Collect marbles to unlock new mini-games and enjoy the charming, colorful pixel imagery and unique music for each game. You can play in portrait or landscape mode, and the controls are basic with only 2 buttons. Have you ever wished to go back in time and see how video games evolved? That's exactly what you get with Evoland 2, a nostalgic trip full of hilarious references to all your favorite video games and consoles. The tale is a traditional RPG adventure, but the action includes card games, 2D RPGs, 3D versus fights, and more, with over 20 hours of playtime. Evoland 2 was initially launched on PC, but this Android port retains all of the game's appeal, including charming graphics and Bluetooth controller compatibility. Unfortunately, the on-screen controls aren't excellent, so to get the most out of the ad-free, in-app purchase-free experience, we recommend attaching your favorite controller. Greetings, mate! I hope you're enjoying it so far. Please give it a thumbs up and feel free to share your thoughts in the comment section below. Baba Is You is a unique puzzle game unlike anything you've ever experienced. Trust us. Baba Is You is one of those games where promising yourself that you'll play just one more level will never happen. The aesthetics and premise are straightforward. You'll find bricks to interact within each level. These blocks represent the rules, which you may edit and adjust to change how the level functions. You'll have to play the game to understand what we're talking about, but there's nothing quite like turning oneself into a rock or completely changing the level's purpose. If you are stuck, press the undo button to start over. You will get stuck because of the game's unpredictable nature, yet it will never be boring or annoying. We understand that $7 for a mobile game may seem excessive, but the game's duration assures that it is well worth the investment. Journey and Flower fans will like the latest game from the same developers. Sky, Children of the Light, is just as lovely as the rest of the team's work. It's an adventure with a social element. You take on the role of one of the Children of the Light, tasked with restoring hope to the kingdom and reuniting fallen stars with their constellations. You can create your avatar before going out into Kingdom of Sky, which includes 7 stunningly drawn areas to explore. To engage in quests, save spirits, unearth treasures, explore darker, more perilous areas, talk to and team up with other people. Playing with others is a wonderful experience here, and there are plenty of people to pair up with, but solitary play may get tedious soon. Are you sick of Real Racing 3? Then Grid Autosport is the racer you've been looking for. It's an ad-free premium title, but you'll need a capable phone and 3.9 gigabytes of storage space to play it. With over 100 circuits to race around and a vast selection of 100 cars, this is as close to console-quality racing on Android as you'll get. You can choose from tilt, wheel touch, or arrow touch controls, or utilize a controller if that's more your thing. With a wide number of disciplines ranging from endurance and demolition to drift, drag, and street races, there's plenty of longevity here as well. Despite the game's rather high initial purchase price, you're paying for an ad-free experience with no future in-app purchases, as well as all of the DLC. To describe Gorogoa as odd is an understatement, so let's talk about it. It's bizarre. However, if you enjoy that type of game, you'll enjoy this one. It's intended to be puzzling and sometimes succeeds a little too well. The picture book's beautiful hand-drawn panels that serve as the game's centerpiece appear to tell a tale, yet it's unclear how they're connected at first glance. That's because it's your job to link everything together so the story can progress, from rearranging panels to zooming in and out and layering them to reveal more information. Coming right up is Ink, a beautiful little hand-drawn puzzler set in a universe made by a ballpoint pen that'll appeal to fans of Monument Valley and The Unfinished Swan. You take on the role of the Nameless Hero, a rogue samurai who must go around the world on paper with his true love, Aiko. The enigmatic artist, whose hands you'll see appear in the game as you investigate, crafted the world around you. When everything you care about is taken away from you, you must reclaim your possessions by altering the world around you, erasing and redrawing pieces of the landscape to solve puzzles. Finally, you have complete power over the planet and must find a way forward, sometimes a simple task, sometimes a difficult one. Final Fantasy XV Pocket Edition is the latest and 15th installment in the Final Fantasy series, along with Final Fantasy XVI reported to be released later this year for PS5 and maybe mobile. The plot is divided into 10 chapters in this mobile version of the original console game. The first is free to play, with future chapters available for purchase. A magnificent soundtrack and a wide story explain the chosen king, savior to the star, behind the charming animation. Garena Free Fire, which falls perfectly into the Battle Royale games you've probably never played category. Garena Free Fire, which falls perfectly into the Battle Royale games you've probably never played category, is certainly worth your time if you're sick of Fortnite and PUBG. Each game is only 10 minutes long and throws you against 49 other players who have the same goal: survive. The game's short match time works well on mobile, but there's much to keep players interested. From the opportunity to construct a 4-man squad with in-game voice chat to the 4v4 squad clash mode. That concludes today's video, but there's more. This list will have part 2, so subscribe and turn on the notification button to avoid missing it. This is Clash of Games, and we'll see you in our next video.